Hey guys, these are my top 10 favorite consoles. Now, my list is going to be vastly different than yours, and as well it should be because we're different people. So, after you see my top 10, tell me about your top 10 down in the comments.
First, I have to start off with the PlayStation 4. It's by far my favorite of the newest generation of systems out there. There's just something about the control that I really love, the big button in the middle. The games are great, the load up time isn't bad at all. I'm just really enjoying playing my PlayStation 4. All the new games that I want that come out, I buy on PlayStation 4 unless it's, an exclusive for the Xbox One. That's the only time that I'll buy something for that. But I can't say enough good things about this system. I'm just thoroughly enjoying it. I like the sleek design. I'm not sure if I'm going to spend the money to get the PlayStation 4.5, the, what is it, Neo or Scorpion, whatever it's called. But this system is just, right now, this is the perfect system for me to be playing all my new generation games on. Number 9, the TurboGrafx 16. Now this is a system that I didn't have as a child, but my cousin Johnny's best friend Tyson had it, so we used to go to his house all the time to play TurboGrafx 16, and he still has his to this day. He keeps teasing me about selling his collection of games because he has a fair amount of them. I never had the CD attachment, and that's something that I'm still looking for. But when I finally got my TurboGrafx 16 as an adult, I made it a point to get Box Adventure, get Blazing Lasers, all of those games. I'm still looking for Splatterhouse, and there's just the sleek design, the controllers, the turbo effect on the controller. I just really, really like this system. Number 8, the Sega Master System. Now, I was lucky enough to get a Master System because a friend of mine and his family were moving away to Calgary, so he pretty much just gave it to me for like a binder of hockey cards. So again, this is a system that I didn't have a lot of games for as a child, but being an adult now and having more disposable income, it's easier to pick up games for these. It's a little tricky to find them where I live in Quebec, but you can go the online route. There's retail and specialty shops. I just really like this. Double Dragon, Alter Beast, even the Sonic isn't bad on there. I really like Sega Master System. Number 7 is the PlayStation 2. This system has a huge library. There's no way I'm ever going to have all of the games. I know it's upwards of 5, 6, maybe even 700 games. PlayStation 2 was the system when I first snapped my ankle back in 2007, and already PlayStation 2 was old by then. My cousin John sold me his and about 50 games for about $25. So I pretty much played PlayStation 2 the whole time that I was injured, and I couldn't really do much. I was, like on the couch with a huge cast. I was just, rehabbing my ankle, and I started playing all those collector's editions, like the Sega collecting ones, and that kind of like reminded me, I'm like, oh yeah, I have a Genesis, I have a Nintendo at my house, at my mother and father's. I should go get those and really play these classic games. So just for that reason in itself, PlayStation 2 always has a special place in my heart. Number 6 is the Atari 2600. What can I say about the 2600? For me, this was the first gaming system. This was my father's system, the Atari 2600, but I used to always come home after school and play all the games. River Raid was by far my favorite game on the system, but I liked all the other, I enjoyed the Donkey Kong, Breakout. There was tons of games on it, and for a while Atari 2600 games were super easy to come across at the flea market. I used to be able to scoop them up $1 each. I have about 50 or 60 games in my collection. Number 5 is a little bit of a cheat, and it's the Nintendo Game Boy. I put this on here even though it's a handheld because I just love the Game Boy. To this day, I'm still playing the Game Boy. My brother Jordan and I still have Tetris competitions to see who can get the most lines. All the Mario games, anything that came out on the Game Boy, I always tried to collect. Even if it was terrible, I really loved it. Like for instance, the Spider-Man game is, the controls are atrocious. It's really hard to shoot the webs, but it still has that nostalgia feeling. I still put it in. I love playing it. I go to the dollar store just to pick up my batteries, know that it's going into my Game Boy, and I still have my original Game Boy. Number 5 is the Xbox 360. I think this is by far the biggest collection of games that I have, just because I was always buying 360 games, and later on games became so cheap, especially when this generation of games came out. It was really easy to pick up games. You could get at some places it was like 10 for $30, $3 a piece. I have a huge library of 360 games. playing Gears of War 2 with my buddies, going through like the Batman series the first time. You know, I just really love the 360, which I had like a little bit of a pain of sadness when I got my PS4 and my Xbox One because the 360 was retiring. I still have it in the game room and I still play on it sometimes, but I almost felt bad, like I was, you know, like losing a friend, if that makes sense, if anyone's ever felt that too. Like, the 360 was a great system for me, and it's hard now because I don't feel the same way about the Xbox One. Next is the Sega Genesis, and it was really hard to put the Genesis in this spot because it's got a great library. I always loved the music. Some people kind of harp on Genesis saying that it had like a weird song, but to me when you turned on a game, you knew it was a Genesis game just by the way the sound was. I really liked that. The first Genesis, you know, the high definition, you could plug in your headphones, you can adjust the volume. I always thought that was great. The only thing was, you know, for fighting games you had to buy the 6-button paddle, but that wasn't always a big deal. I really love the Genesis, and again, it's another system that I always play even to today, and the Genesis actually has my favorite video game of all time, which is Streets of Rage 2. What more can you really say about this system? When you think retro games, the first thing that pops into your head is Nintendo. All the Mario games, Castlevania, Kirby, all the Mega Mans, not to mention like the hidden gems like Kick Master and Panic Restaurant, although which is a ridiculously priced game. But the Nintendo had a great library. I think that's the system that I have the second most games on. I'm probably over about 450 Nintendo games. I don't know, it's the way retro's gotten so popular, it's hard to collect now. Games are a little more expensive, but whenever I see a NES game, I always smile. Even sometimes if it's double, I'll pick it up. It's just a great system, and you know, like, I love the design, the toaster look. It still looks great on a shelf or underneath any television. So obviously my favorite video game system is the Super Nintendo. The Super Nintendo was a system that I got after the Genesis, and you know, you can say fanboy, you can say whatever you want, there's always console wars. I love both systems, but for me, the Super Nintendo just held up more with the color, the controllers, the video game library that came out. Super Castlevania is easily my favorite game on the system, but the fighting games, I remember having NHL tournaments with my cousins and friends where we'd have to keep stats. People would come to my house, we'd go to my cousin Johnny's, we'd always bring the same cartridge, you'd manage your team, everyone would keep stats, and then we'd have the playoffs at the end of the year. Final Fight, I remember renting Final Fight and then my cousin going away to Florida for, I think they were gone for 2 weeks, and I couldn't get into his house. We rented a game and we left the game at his house with his Super Nintendo, so I had a crazy bill at the video game rental store when he came back. And you know, like Mario Kart, games like that, like stuff that I still play today. And the Super Nintendo is constantly plugged into, you know, honestly every TV I have in the house, in the game room, in the living room, in the bedroom. Super Nintendo is by far my favorite console. Hey guys, don't forget to like this video if you actually liked it, and down in the comments let me know what some of your favorite consoles are. Also, you can find me on all the social media, and if you want to see more Loch Ness Monster, click on one of these 2 videos. Until next time guys, thanks for watching, I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in about a week and a half.